Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Pulsar from King's Choice, back with another video for you guys. Today, I want to talk about lovers. A few different things I want to touch on. There's main things to really focus on so you don't make early mistakes. Free to play versus pay to play. So determining how you're going to spend or not spend early on makes a tremendous difference in who you should focus on. Looking at the intimacy, looking at the charm, and looking at who to exile are kind of how we want to break this thing down. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the account here. All right, so the first thing we want to look at, we're going to click on our Royal Garden, go to our lovers page, and you can see here, like I mentioned in previous videos, I do spend money on this game. I enjoy it. Enjoy spending my money on it. So I am VIP 10, almost VIP 11, and my lovers are coordinated accordingly. So I've spent my attention and my focus on the lovers that come with VIP levels because I find, or I have found that that's the best bang for my buck, and I end up getting more growth overall by investing in the lovers that I do. So with that being said, pay to play, you should focus on the same thing. I think you get Cordelia at VIP 2, which is very early on. You'll probably unlock her day 1. And she pairs with Michelangelo, who's a Universal Knight, very strong, especially early game. You unlock him at VIP 3, I think, which again, you'll hit very quickly if you're spending money on the game. I also look at Bonnie, who is unlocked at VIP 4. I used her early on with Francis. He's also a VIP Knight. At VIP 1, I believe, so you get him before you get Bonnie. But again, very good knight, especially early game before you start getting the VIP or the Aura Knights from the Knights of the Round Table and things like that. The other ones that I'm looking at, I use Joycelyn personally. She's my 5th one. She is for Edward. Again, very strong 4-star knight. You get him very early on. So again, you can start investing early on to grow the knights that you're going to be spending on and improving their talents, which in turn is going to make them stronger with their lover points. So that's who I go with. And then you start getting into the bigger guys or ladies as you get into the deeper VIP levels. So VIP 6 is when you unlock Isolede. She is really good. She goes with Madam, who you would unlock at VIP 7. So you have a little bit of time to build her before you unlock Madam. Very, very strong knight overall. I would argue that she's just as good, if not better, than the epic knights that you'll get a couple months into the game. And then you've got VIP 8 is when you'll unlock Beatrice. Let me see if I can find her. I did not put a ton of time into her because I knew I was going to rush VIP 9. But she pairs with Joffrey, who is a very strong 4-star. He has a lot of intellect talents. I think he has 3, which is similar to the 6 stars. So he is a strong knight if you do choose to invest in him. I was spending, so I chose Roger Bacon instead. But it's kind of your play on that, which one you decide to go with. And then as you get into the deeper ones, VIP 9 is Portia. So you'll have William Shakespeare to pair with her. And once you get into these guys, I would say after Isolede and beyond, each lover that you unlock from then on out, you should focus on. So Isolede, Portia, Margaret, Amber, the sisters, and Elaine are all very, very strong. They coordinate to knights that have a lot of talents, and which is how you grow with your charm and lover points. And we'll kind of talk about all of that and as a whole as we move this video, but I want to basically invest in the VIP lovers. If you're free to play, you can follow some of the similar routes. You get Joycelyn very early with Edward. It's a very low VIP level for Edward. I think you just have to make one purchase. So even spending 99 cents is well worth it for the 4-star knight. And the lover, I believe, comes from Trolls, which will come pretty quick. And then you got Bice and Darren, or Bice or Darren for Dante, and that's your second day you log in. You'll unlock them. That's also a 4-star knight. I did not put a lot of effort into mine, just again because I had Roger for my intellect, and that's kind of similar to what I would have focused my Dante on, and I just didn't need him for my particular account. And then Cordelia, like I had mentioned before, VIP 2. isn't unachievable even for a free to play. You'll get that pretty quick just by doing your daily tasks and things. So I think that she would be a very good one to invest in. For Michelangelo, it'd be a P3, which again will come very quickly, I believe, even as a free to play, or especially as a low spender. If you're spending even 99 cent a couple times a month or a week, you'll unlock VIP 3 pretty fast. And you can, once you unlock the lover at VIP 2, you can start investing in her so that the lover points are building up, so that when you do unlock Michelangelo, you can dump those in a state power event. The other ones that I would focus on would be Lady Godiva for Earl of Warwick. She comes from patrols as well. And then you've got VIP 4 if you're a low spender. You've got Bonnie for Francis Drake, um, who is a very strong knight, especially for leadership early on when you don't have any of the scholars. But again, that's if you're rushing VIP 4. And then, even though I give him a hard time all the time, Kristen for Greg. Uh, like I mentioned in my previous video, Greg, I give him a lot of, you know, when people upgrade him, I give him a hard time because he's a 3 star, and I just don't think that you should spend a lot of armor on a 3 star knight. But he does have 8 total talents and 2 of each one. He's a universal knight. He's not the worst option, especially for a free to play player. You can definitely have some benefits through upgrading his Kristen's charm, and building him up. I do think that's a solid option, especially if you're going to stay free to play. So we've touched on some of it already, but looking at the two main things is intimacy and charm. Intimacy basically is going to, uh, long story short, give you heirs, which at uh, for state power events mainly is when that's going to come to use. You want heirs, you want strong heirs, and you want a lot of heirs. One reason being we have state power going on right now, so it's a good time for me to show this. But you have limited time quest for marriages. So if you can marry off 20 heirs during a state power event, the game's going to give you free gold, which is, as a lot of free to play players know, and even pay to win players, um, it, every bit of gold helps a ton. So if you can marry off 20 heirs, which I will do tomorrow because we have another day left on this, but it goes a long way in upgrading you. And then also milk on your heirs. So using the milk 300 times, I know for a free to play that may not be achievable, but even using it 50 times or so, just so you can get these free rewards for charm, goes a long way. So I'd encourage you to do those things during state power events where you use your milk items and you marry off your marriages. You should save that for state power events. But going back into the Royal Garden and looking at our lovers here, here's my heirs. I have 10. I would recommend getting as many as you can after you prioritize getting university spots open, because I think that's a more higher priority on my list. But heirs are important too. Like I said, it helps you a lot with state power growth. It helps your alliance mates and your server mates when you come to a state power event. You can help them marry off their heirs as well, and everybody gets free gold. So everybody wins. Um, Also looking at the random greetings. So you've got quick greetings where you can do random greetings. You can use your gen, which will give you lover points, which are very important, or you can just wait for the recovery time. If you do a quick greeting, you can't generate an heir. Most of you will probably realize that very quickly. But in case you didn't know, you will never get an heir off of a random greeting. So if you want an heir, you take your chances on a random, where you can hit replenish, or replenish to give you gen. You can hit random greeting, take your chances. Okay, so I landed a date with Cordelia. I would have probably gotten an heir. I don't have any spots available right now, but anyway, that's how that works. Uh, use your gen for that, and then you can see here lover points also come from dating. And then if you want to generate an heir specifically, like say kind of like Portia, I've dumped a lot of intimacy into them or into her so that she can have really big heirs. I can go here, I can go to date, I can spend 1,000 gold, and I will get about a 1 million state power baby, where I can turn that around and help a teammate out, and give them some rewards for marrying off with one of my heirs. You can see here I don't produce a lot of heirs by doing this. I personally believe that the gold is very hard to come by. So I would take my chances with the randoms. If I land on her, great. If not, I've invested in almost every one of my lovers just to get them up to the point where even if on a random date I'll land a 100,000 plus state power baby. So that's my own personal, the way I do it. If you want to do 1,000 gold on a date, I don't think that's a bad option either. I'm just going to use my gold on other things. All right, and then looking at charm, this is probably just as equally as important, if not more important, than intimacy, especially for these VIP nights. So you got somebody like Margaret, who has Nicholas, and all of these are going to base off of their talents. So you can see here, all of mine are almost to the level max, which is 250. And at which point, when I get all 6 of these done, I will unlock Doomsday Curse, which will also jump my state power a significant amount. So I'm looking forward to the day. I'll probably do that on my state power push for the Duke or the King that rolls around here in the next couple days. I might take a screen recording of that just so I can show you guys what it looks like, and why it is beneficial to focus on these lovers and these knights. It kind of ties both of the videos that I've done so far into one, so you can see those gains come around. But anyway, that's what you do there to increase their charm and to increase their intimacy. You can just head over to the gifts. You can give 10 at a time to give you 10, 20, 50. You've got their other random things, which I've exiled all mine that use these, so I won't be able to use those for a little while unless I decide to bring back one of my lovers that I broke up with. Um, and then you've got charm over here with the hairpins, so that's how you increase this number here, which will coordinate to your lover points. Um, and I actually dropped the formula for how that's calculated on Ballroom, stuff like that on my previous video if you want to check that out. All right, so that covers most of that. You can see here who you haven't dated, and it'll tell you how you want to unlock it. I have 24 unlocked out of the 27. I'm only missing these 3, and that's going to hit by going up VIP levels. And then you've got the relationship tree, which is very important. It helps your heirs progress and makes them strong. You want to get at least 1 to 20 out of 20. I know that's a long-term goal for free to play or low spending players, but if you're a higher spender, if you can get one of these VIP lovers to 20,000 of each, you'll create really strong heirs, and then you'll also be able to advance them on this lover chart, or the relationship chart, which again will give you even better heirs. So you want to spread that out as much as you can. You can see here I don't have any at the bottom. I've tried to get them all to at least 1,000 on each. I'm currently working on getting them up to 2,000, which I'll turn around and get them to 3,000, and then my end goal would be to get them all to 3,500. So that's kind of my long-term goals for especially the ones I focus on. So, all right, going back, the last thing that I want to hit on would be exiling for the lovers. Exiling lovers is something that I strongly encourage. I recommend doing all of the lovers that you're not focusing on their knights. Reason being is because the lover power relations, like I showed you previously, is all built around talents. So if you're not building the knights, you're really not going to gain a ton of it. State power growth by having them. So I would just prefer exile them and save my charm for my random charm and things like that for the lovers that I am using their knights. Versus knights, you'll learn that I don't recommend exiling a lot of knights. It's just not the way I play. So I think there's a lot more uses for knights. I've exiled a few that didn't have lovers, and that I just wasn't really interested in leveling up. But I touched on that some in my previous video, I believe, so you can check that out. I do recommend doing lovers, breaking up with them as many as you can, as many as you can afford. I would max it out. I haven't done the last one because I don't know who I want to do yet, but I think you have to maintain 15 lovers at all times. So as you get 16, 17, you can start exiling some of these, so that they're not taking away any of the random XP. All right, with that being said, I do believe that was everything I wanted to cover with you guys today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out through Twitter, through Discord, or through YouTube, which you can see linked to the video here. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have specific to your account, how you want to build your account. If you want to ask me a question on what I've learned or break down the formula for you, I'm happy to do that. Just reach out. Thank you guys.